Do you want to know how Robin Hood, that very famous archer, which definitely has existed eons ago, we've all seen that from the Disney movie, became such a pro at archery? Well, he played this archery game. In this game, you are playing as an archer, and your intention is to, with physics-based gameplay, take down these archers which are firing their arrows towards you. So what is the reason? What is the story? Well, I have no idea. And really, do you need a story for every game out there? Do you really need one? Huh? Well, no. For this very game, you simply load up you simply load up arrows and fire them at these very opponents until they die. Now, they can die by two ways. Either you deplete their health bar by shooting them in the knee or the body or whatever, or they can fall off these platforms. There's also a health bar that you have, and you will be able to replenish it by basically shooting at fruit. And if you're able to shoot the fruit as well as the enemy, then you will be able to deal some extra damage. But there actually is some interesting details I realized by playing this game. For you see, these arrows that you are shooting, they can actually be angled. For instance, my enemy shot at me multiple times, but plenty of times these arrows seem to angle in a way so they really only bounced off me instead of actually damaging me. Now that is actually not the most common thing I've seen in this kind of ragdoll based games. Most of the time, whenever weapons hit in games, you tend to not really, you tend to be damaged by touching them. But no, not this time. Now, as for the graphics of this game, they are very much based around these stick-driven games that used to be very popular in the early 2010s. You know, like the Stickman running game? Well, that is sort of a far more limited moveset of that. You know, you play stick figures, but these stick figures are probably just assets bought from a storefront. They're probably not built from the ground up. Does that mean that this game is lazy and that this game is just put together rather quickly? No, not necessarily. Look, there are details which I've talked about before. Sure, the music is extremely silent, as is there is absolutely no music there, and the sounds, well, that is basically only the splash as well as the hit of the arrows, as well as the sounds of the arrows whooshing. But there aren't that many things which is necessary to make a game of this caliber fun. It is interesting to try and see how many arrows you can actually hit the enemy before they actually die. And as you can see on screen, there are even some boss fights. And when I saw this for the very first time, I was actually a bit shocked, especially since the previous enemies was just really small grunts. Now all of a sudden this 2 times larger boss shows up. Well, that kinda caught me off guard. Now, if you are a fan of physics-based games that requires you to put in some actual thought and strategy into coming far, well, this is actually a game I recommend. The gameplay is decently fun, and even though it looks simplistic, it actually does have some of its own identity. It is, like I said, very simple, but nothing that doesn't make you want to turn off or is like super ugly. It works for what it's supposed to be. Now, I will be linking this game down below if you want to give it a watch. So, that is what I wanted to give you. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.